Welcome back to my channel, guys. It's Jacques, and today is a conversation about something that most people, I think, are curious about. I think I wasn't curious about it. I didn't know about it. I think because of where I came from, there was always like this little inquisitive mind of mine that was just very intrigued by different things. If you would ask my grandmother, my sisters, I was definitely one that would always watch Discovery Channel, always watch anything about different cultures. And I would always say, when I was younger, I'm going to experience some of this stuff. And I was like, I just want to see some of these amazing mountains or these amazing rivers and these amazing cultures where people seem so authentic and is so loving and is outside of this city life that I'm used to. So with this, it was a eye-opening experience learning about different cultures. It also putting yourself into these cultures. So let's rewind a little bit. When I first moved to London, it was very similar. It was like, oh, this is very American-like. You can tell they're like sisters. And I remember diving deep into that culture and learning things about like Cockney slang, or about why is it tea and biscuits, and this posh type feeling of what being English was. But even going from the edges of Birmingham or Manchester, or going to Cornwall, it was always something that I was intrigued by. I definitely learned a lot about different foods, which for the English, I don't think that they can cook. That's just my personal opinion. But it wasn't until I moved to Barcelona. When I moved to Barcelona and I was able to go to the city center or go where the president is, and then I noticed that there were two different buildings, one for Catalan and another one for Spain. And it was at that time, excuse me, that I dove deep into the culture, especially after you guys saw my last video of me learning Spanish. I was able to see and embrace that, oh, why does this Spanish person look this way, but that one looks this way? It's like, well, this one is more German and this one's more Arabic. And then learning the ins and outs of what happened in Spanish culture with Catalan people and the Spanish people, and how they were conquered by a king and stripped of their language. But it wasn't just the bad. It was the good, it was the camaraderie, and it was certain things and tips that I took along the way. And I always tell people, they always ask me, how brave of you, how much courage you have just for going to these different countries, living in these different countries. And I always tell people it's like 5 things that I always know. 1, where the embassy is. 2, I always make sure that wherever I'm at, whether it's late at night to early in the morning, I always make sure it's a very lit area. And I always do my research right before I come. So whether in Barcelona is more known for pickpocketing. And with that being said, I would always make sure to keep my bag in front of me, make sure that if I am going to certain places, don't carry certain special things like my passport, only take identification. In Europe, by the way, you are allowed to take a picture of your passport unless you're needing to convert money. So if you have a picture of your passport or your ID, most clubs, most bars, they won't card you, but for clubs and things, you can show that and they'll be fine with that. Number 3, always investigate exactly where you're going. So if it was a club that I had never been to or area I had never been to, I would always Google it, check it out. Make sure that there's nothing new, like as far as crime. And it would be, if it was crime, what type of crime? In London, it was always with knives. They didn't have guns. Spain also. Spain didn't have guns either. It would be, they rarely even had knives. It would be more people being robbed for like pickpocketing you or taking things from you or robbing you in a way that, I don't know if I have that video up, but I'll post it, of when I went to Gran Canaria and one of my friends' house was taken by Moroccans. And for me, being American, I was a little shocked that just by a person's appearance or by a person's being, people wouldn't do anything. I'm used to like knucking if you're bucking, and that's fighting for people that don't speak English. Um, but it was at that moment that I knew that this wasn't as volatile as most people may think it is. That a lot of people, even if you had arguments and things, that they never wanted to fight. It was just more a war of words. It was never really physical. It never got physical. And that was very, very important as well, because you want to make sure that you actually are intertwined into the culture and making sure that you're not really making yourself look like a fool in any type of way. Okay. Next would have had to been, I always made sure that I had my credit card on me. In Europe, if you're in Europe, it was not really needed to have your credit card. I usually, as long as I had my phone, I was okay. And usually if my phone went dead, I could still pay with my phone. Nothing really happened. But when it came to the likes of Mexico, I made sure that I always kept money, always kept cash, or the places that I went, they accepted card of some sort. And those are some of the things that I tell people all the time that I've learned in different cultures. And I've also learned in different cultures that I've been lied to a lot. A lot of these cultures aren't as volatile as America may have presented them to me. And don't be afraid to speak to people. Don't be afraid that people are looking at you. I was just in the street today, and I'm literally probably one of the only black people in my area. And I saw another, like a family maybe vacationing or something. And I remember one of the people point like, oh my God, there's a black guy. and understanding that oftentimes it's not a racist undertone. You know, everything is in the racist undertone. It's usually fascination, or they're like, oh, wow, I would have never, this isn't like most people know I live in La Ciudad de Mexico. And most people here don't do certain things, you know, like they don't see certain things. And usually most people don't come here because it's not a beach. When you think of Mexico, you think of Puerto Vallarta, Cozumel, Cancun, and those places is where usually most black people go. They're not coming to La Ciudad de Mexico. And for people that are black that come here, they're most likely they live here, or, you know, in some way they're transferring through this area. And I would definitely say, don't be afraid of introducing yourself to these cultures and embracing these cultures, trying different foods. I was talking to somebody in the gym the other day, and we were talking, and I was like, you know, like flautas de marlin and huevos rancheros and chiles con salsa verde, it's my favorite. But I love like Jamaica. It's like a refresco. It's like a juice, but it's like and then they have one horchata. Horchata, for people that are in America, it tastes like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. That's all I'm gonna say. I know it's cinnamon stick and milk and some other stuff. It literally tastes like the milk after you eat Cinnamon Toast Crunch. But it was like things like that, not really just pulling yourself and navigating through these cultures, but embracing it, so that when you have conversations with people, they understand and they're like, wow, this guy or this person really has dove deep into the culture, and to know what we like and to know what he likes and be able to say it. I was with a friend of mine, Dan, a month or so ago. We were out eating and I was like, oh, usually I don't really know. And then the lady comes, she's like, what do you like? I'm like, chilaquiles con salsa verde. He's like, you like Mexican food a lot because you said that with no problem. And those things are the tips. And for people that are trying to travel to these different places, I always say this: brush up on a little bit of the language. If you're going to France, try at least, they have Google Translate that can tell you how to say certain things. Even if you get close, most people will help you. In Spanish culture, I love that when I see people try, you know, I would consider myself more fluent, but I love to hear people try to say what they want, and instead of defaulting to the English language when they're in another country. I always tell people, try to respect cultures as much as possible. For me, I never allow Mexicans or Latinos or Españolos to speak English to me. It's your country, you speak to me in your native language, and we will get through it. And it's more comfortable for them. Unless they want to speak English, that's fine. But for the most part, the moment that they know that you speak Spanish, it becomes such a much easier process. It's a more authentic, more loving, more caring process, or more inquisitive. They're very, very inquisitive about like what's going on, or very intrigued by where are you from, who are you, where did you learn your Spanish, and those things are always bring me back to the core of who I am and why I decided to start this journey of going to different countries. There is a question that people have been asking me for a very long time of why I have yet to go to Africa. I have definitely been to Africa. For most people that have not seen it, I did not document it. I went to Morocco. When it comes to African culture, just to add a little bit to it, I am a gay man. And I have done a lot of research, and I don't want there to be anyone in, not saying that all of them do, not saying all African nations, all African countries, all of them have this same problem. But for me, I would like to be a little more safe about what I'm doing and when I'm doing it. Not saying that they're going to hurt me. I don't believe in that. But I want to make sure that wherever I go, that I'm accepted for who I am, and I'm not treated oddly because I am gay, or because I present mass presenting, but I don't think that my African trip will probably be by myself. I think friends of mine may come along, or I don't think I would ever live there for a long period of time. But I definitely think I will travel, vlog about it, and let you guys know. So those are for the questions that people have asked me on Instagram and Facebook of why I have yet to go to African countries. I have been in Africa. I just did not vlog Africa. I have pictures of me in Morocco. It just wasn't a thing that at the time was I big into YouTube or posting videos. But I do plan on going back. I do plan on seeing a lot of the things that I want to see. And who knows, I don't know. I have to check the visa information. I believe I can stay there 30 days or at least 90. If I'm able to stay for that amount of time, I definitely see myself in the future going to Africa for a month or two, just to embrace it, learn the cultures, learn about where I'm from, and then ultimately sharing it with you guys, okay? So until next time, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I love you guys so much. Hey, before you go, I need some help. Just by liking, commenting, and subscribing to my page, it allows me to keep expanding the Gossy Trails. I don't do paid ads or promotional offers at all, but just by doing that little part, you keep allowing me to trailblaze these beautiful countries.